Let's try this out. I'm going to keep the stats up over here in the corner. All right, we are getting started with the Sunday service.
Good morning, everybody.
Hopefully everything works out today. We did a 30-minute test this morning, and I am just keeping my fingers crossed at this point that everything stays copacetic. My little rose quartzes.
Oh, good morning, little tree sap, jockster, and paranormal witch. Hope you are all having a fabulous weekend.
Fabulous.
Hope it's been restful. If anything else, that's like lately. That's like the best commodity you can have is to feel rested, refreshed.
And yes, I did not see up above there. Little tree sap and jockster, welcome in. Paranormal, welcome in.
Energized.
We got fingers crossed today, but we also have a backup plan. So if we lose connection for some reason and stuff all goes to the crapper, give us like 3 minutes and we are going to go at our backup setup that is our direct plugged in internet wired connection desktops that we would switch over to. So not as pretty, but it'll work.
Good morning, dragon.
Morning, dragon. Where do you see her?
I want to be a dragon dancer.
Is she showing in there? Because she's not in mine.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great.
She's under where I put good morning, oh.
Yeah. I don't know why I wasn't updating there. There we go. Dragon Dance, good morning. So those are all operator errors right there. So again, back up if we disappear or if it starts going funky nuts, just give us a few minutes to switch over and we will be back. We will come back on a regular, just live stream. Nothing special. So we gotta have a backup.
Black Rose.
We elevated our modem about 3 feet up and out, and we put a piece of interference blocking cardboard underneath the laptop to see if that will alleviate our issues, and it seems to be pretty good. We did 30 minutes this morning test, no issues. So fingers crossed.
Like early, like what, 6:30?
Yeah, it was 6:30 to 7. But I'd rather cancel it if it's not going to work than to be halfway through and things get unfinished. Ooh, I need to look into why that is such a problem for me, right? Isn't that is a trigger?
Pull a card, shadow card.
Yeah.
Not any card, but a shadow card.
So if we do have issues, then we are pretty much 100% sure, at least in my thought, that it is an exterior issue with Comcast Xfinity. Because that has happened a few times, where it's been, when we have these weird upload issues. I may also go ahead and get a plug, like get a extra long cord that we can just plug in, because my laptop will plug directly in, and the wired connection works fine, it seems. Which is inherently more stable. Anyway. Got my charcoal lit. Got a really fun show today.
Charcoal in the cauldron.
We're talking quite a bit about Imbolc or use milk. We are talking a little bit about some interesting news articles that Rook found, and we'll do some moon phase stuff, and then we've got some information and some discussion on boundaries. So I'm excited.
They're good.
What are good?
Boundaries.
They are good. I also created a new section in the Two Pondering Pagans Discord called Sunday Service, where we will try to put in any links and things that we will be using before the actual show. Sometimes we won't make it before, but so if you look there today, you'll see all the links that we'll be using and showing that we use to get our information to kind of back it up there. So that's pretty cool. Some new things. We haven't really done any redecoration yet because we've been very busy. So we'll talk about that too. We're starting to try and update our section here, our table, with the things that we do related to the next upcoming Sabbath.
So we need some pastel-y stuff. That's my
Sabbath.
favorite. Pastel pinks and blue and green and yellow.
So I think we should go ahead and it's 10:33. You want to go ahead and call these circles?
Yes, that would be wonderful for me. If you can. All right. Would you prefer to start?
Good question. Glad you asked. You can start.
Usually I just go right in. Hear me, friends and ancestors from the east. Hear my voice carried on the air of clarity and truth. Watch over us as we cast our circle of safety and love.
See me, friends and ancestors from the south. See my flame of passion and creation seared into the energy of the universe. Watch over us as we cast our circle of limitless possibility.
Feel me, friends and ancestors from the west. Feel my love, fear, sadness, and joy washed into the waters of the rivers of compassion. Watch over us as we cast our circle of connection and motion.
Reach me, friends and ancestors from the north. Reach my feet and hands, the earth in my toes, and the work of my fingers. Watch over us as we cast our circle of earth.
Know me, friends and ancestors from the ether. Know my intent, know my heart, and know my spirit. Watch over us as we ask you all to join us in perfect love and perfect trust.
Hear, see, feel, reach, and know that the circle is safe, the circle is sacred, and the circle is cast.
So mote it be. Be it so, and so it is.
Hail it.
Hail it.
Hail it. All right. I also recognize that I'm going to need to get a new chair here soon because my chair is slowly going down, 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 down.
I need to light the candles.
Would you light my candle?
At the cat scratch plug. See if it will. You should light in here. Dun, 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 dun.
Now I've got a song stuck in my head. Do you go to the cat scratch club? That's where I go, I work. That's where I work, I strip, sorry. Your candle's out. I love Rent, get over it. Mystic Minnie! Hey, how's it going? Yes, I do.
Mystic Minnie!
I don't know why, but every time I see Mystic Minnie, I get in my head, just another Mystic Minnie.
Oh, that's good. So you picked up. That's good that you're
It's
doing
terrible.
songs.
I want to go jump off of a bridge.
No, I like it. Just like I want to be a dragon dancer song.
Last year's rent. We're not gonna pay rent. 'Cause everything is rent.
So what have you been reading?
Now you know how I feel. I like it.
I like to sing
About the moon and the Juna and the spring.
about a sky, a blue, or a tea for two.
I am still reading the same things. I made another chapter 2 in The Expanse 2, which I love. Did one more chapter in polyvagal and did a couple of the exercises. We are moving, by the way, the polyvagal group to once a month. I'm going to try to be a little more consistent with it. It's just kind of back and forth, right? And, you know, we really... Sometimes there's a bunch of people, sometimes there's none, and I think with Scarlet's schedule and everything, we probably just need to... We've talked a little bit, we're going to do once a month. We don't know what day that's going to be, but we will set it up. It'll be consistent, and then we'll have that Zoom link, just because it's been so back and forth. But anyway, so I've been reading it a little bit on polyvagal, did the little the tests that she gave for homework, which is kind of cool. I don't have any traits of ADD or ADHD, or autism actually is what it is, not ADHD. I was thinking of you.
I have ADHD traits.
Yeah. If you hear any weird howling and, you know, ghost noises, that's the wind.
It's really weird. The wind's making a weird noise.
And then I started the 4 Elements of the Wise, which I've been talking about a little bit, but I've been going very slow, only reading a couple pages at a time, just because there's been so much going on with UU and with cups and with needing to get some things done at the house and the motorcycles and the bikes and everything that we've been doing lately.
We've been having a little fun.
So since I got to travel again next week, so I'll get quite a bit of reading on the 3-hour flight, so that won't be bad. Yes, Manny there, preparing for your departure.
Boo!
Boo.
Boo! Hiss!
Um,
Just kidding. I hope you're really happy, but boo hiss for us.
yeah. And I'll be heading to New Jersey on Monday for the work week. So hopefully I'll get some more in there. And I think I mentioned it last week. One of the really neat things so far about this is going into a book that seems like it's a beginner's book, right? Elements. We all know elements. A lot of us have experienced it and don't feel there's a lot more to learn. I've already learned more in the first 10 pages. I said that last week. I'm going to keep saying it because his take on them is very nice. It's very, very similar to my own, but put into words, so it's helpful. And would love to bring in some of that information into the group and share it with you guys once I finish. And we'll be hopefully doing some more classes and things, so I'm sure that'll be helpful. What are you reading, Rook?
Well, I'm still reading Psychic Witch, but really mainly I went back about a month ago to finish a course that I started before COVID, Black Rose Witchcraft. And that's really what I've been doing. And I really like it. It pulls from Dianic, Wicca, Conjure, and Fairy traditions, and that's really what I've been spending most of my time on, my own spiritual development in terms of that course.
Yep. That's one thing that I've noticed that not most of, I should say, but it seems like a lot of online spiritual schools, at least lately, are really nice because they are same individuals that are also authors of a lot of the new current books. And a lot of those paths kind of go together and they work together, which is really nice. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. I enjoy that. I think that's fun. I may do it one day, but I got too much right now.
I really like the energy of the school and I call them guiders because they are teachers, but they really have a way to communicate that's just a good, calm energy. And they allow for anybody to bring their own style, which is where any place should do, I think.
Yeah.
But it's really nice. And they do meetings on Zoom once in a while. That's really fun because these are like published authors. And to see them in that kind of intimate, smaller setting's really cool. That they're just human beings and magical folks. And the biggest thing that they say that resonates with me so far is just everybody's always a student. You should always remain a student. Nobody can know everything. If you think you do, you really need to start reading something. Right? Yeah,
it's all about always a student, always a teacher, which we kind of talked about last week. So you'll notice I don't know if you can see it very well, but we have some new stones. We have some citrine, we have some blue apatite, some chrysocolla, and some rose quartz. Kind of because, the current season we're going into with Imbolc, and we're halfway between earth and air. But we're going to talk about that, meaning, we're between the time of winter and spring. What?
If anything, I would resonate more with air.
Really?
No, I mean, like for myself.
Oh, okay.
My personality.
I'll find you somebody with air that can resonate with you.
My personality, I'm fire, 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 but if there was another element I would do, it would be air.
Yeah, there's a lot of stones I can't seem to find right now that I have. I don't know, because there's stuff we've been moving and cleaning up and kind of cleaning out a lot of things. But so we're burning some Egyptian gardenia. Wish you had some smell-o-visions, because it smells so good. And we're going to do some light, springy scents. We're going to do some gardenia, some rose, some Holy Land kind of smells today. But, yeah, so we're making some changes. Hopefully, the next couple of weeks, we'll start decorating this a little bit better. We cleaned a lot of it off, but I'm a little bit of a messy rat over here.
So, but was it last Sunday night we did the Unexplained Possibilities and
it was so much fun.
With Adius and with Curtis, and that was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
If you haven't seen it, you should go back and watch it. We went through quite a few things. Mel at Unexplained Possibilities is awesome at keeping us on track and keeping the conversation going. I loved that style. It's a talent I don't have. So, but it was a blast.
It was a lot of fun.
It was.
And then the church stuff, like we've been really getting back into a church group, the Cups. And it's been really nice.
Yes. A lot of things. I don't know how we're going to integrate and kind of carry over some of the things between the three major areas we're working on, which is Order of the Patchwork Pagans. That's still a priority for me. That's our association group that kind of, I know Heather's doing a lot of work with them. And it's its own separate thing that kind of connects different groups together. So, for example, Order of Patchwork Pagans may be affiliated at some point with Cups as we do certain things in a specific way, or maybe not. We don't know. Its focus really is on the patchworkness of our groups, children involvement, which Heather's doing, so that might even be something we can utilize for that. But we've been spending a lot of time working on getting the Cups chapter back up and running properly. With a lot of leadership groups coming together, so it's been very nice to see that. And we're going to keep doing this. I know it is going to run into some of the services that we're going to want to go to.
Yeah, the church. We're really trying to support our church because they give the use of the land and the facilities for our Cups group. So probably at least once a quarter, we're going to try to go to an in-person service.
Which means we will not have a Sunday service on those weeks. We will try to plan that ahead of time, but our goal really is to, whenever the Cups group puts on a service or is highly involved with service, we want to attend those. And we want to start trying to attend at least one of the Reverend Sue's groups because we just really enjoyed her presence.
And I want to check out, I want to go to one of Dragon's Sunday services too. I couldn't go the last time she had it, but I would really like to go out and attend. There's just something to me, like online things are awesome. It's how I'm going to school right now with my current craft study. But you also cannot beat getting together in person. Just physically interacting from somebody in person and doing things. There's not a substitute for it.
There is not.
So it's really great to be doing that again.
And Manny, that is awesome. Yes. We want to include that. And spreading out a little bit of that. Anybody, and I mean anybody, is welcome to kind of engage the Order of the Patchwork Pagans. It is not a group that I run. It is not an order that we've made to have a specific belief. The entire goal of the Order of Patchwork Pagans is just so if you go to, let's say, a UU, or if you go to Heather's group, or whoever's group, that we have this kind of aligned situation that we know there is truly 100% everyone is welcome regardless of their belief, and can set up kind of a thing. And our main idea really is the affiliation, right? So if we engage certain things and that thing is affiliated with Order of the Patchwork Pagans, that the general populace would know that is a safe place for them to go to be exactly who they are, as long as they don't harm anybody. So
that would be awesome to connect the Cups work.
Yeah, and that's kind of the idea ultimately. Not everybody's going to be able to get to our Cups chapter, and we don't want to lose the affiliation and the ties with those that are spreading about. Heather's kind of far. It can be a trek for her. We're an hour almost away. It can be a trek for us sometimes. Manny will be on the other side of the continent. I mean, yeah, really, continent.
Oh, God.
So how can we keep that affiliation alive? And that's what the Order of Patchwork Pagans is for. Just throwing that out there. It is not designed to be any one specific thing or any kind of belief or anything. It's literally a group, and it is meant to be with everybody. It is all about building the web, Joy, and you guys at the meeting, and I know we're getting off the subject here, but there was a lot of discussions of the Covenant of the Goddess, COG. This is kind of that, but on a remote level. I don't know that we'll ever do like meetups. It's more of like a seal of approval almost, I think. Something like that. We'll work on it. Right now, the big focus on that is what Heather has been doing, and she has been really running with it, and I'm hoping, with using that moniker, I know she is starting some things herself using that name. Could also be an extended chapter of a youth service or something that we do at
Cups.
Cups. Maybe that will be it, because I know the UU we went to had we sing the children out every day, and they went into a
Every
separate
day.
Sunday school, right?
Yep. Look, I kept thinking they were saying coven of the goddess. I was like, ooh, what's it about? And they said covenant. I said, oh.
So, that is a project that's going to be forever on. And just to be clear, like the Two Pondering Pagans is separate. It's just us. We're the Two Pondering Pagans. There's no big thing there. If we make stuff that we might sell, it'll be like a brand, but that's not the same. That would be awesome. Hey, if they're anywhere in New Jersey, I'll be there this week if you want me to meet with anybody.
Yeah, and we need OPP's shirts.
Yes, we do want to do OPP shirts.
And we need the Ride Your Own Broom shirt, too.
Ride your own broom.
OPP shirt.
I want that on a leather jacket for the motorcycle.
Yeah.
So the end goal is nobody can do everything, right? But with all these associations, I think, Cups is the Fort Myers Cups, right? And Cups chapters are related to their UU that they're part of, and there's a loose association with them. The Covenant is a separate thing, and that kind of does its thing. The Order of Patchwork Pagans is kind of that same idea of we're eventually going to have a list, we're going to have a flyer, we're going to put out a website, and all of those things are going to have like all the links to the Cups chapters that are have somebody that is in the OPP that's part of it, and they will know, hey, I can go to that person because they know the tenets of the OPP, which is there is zero exclusionary unless that person brings trouble specifically, So anyway, lots of stuff.
Connecticut and Rhode Island, that's awesome.
I'll be close. I'll be about 2 hours from Connecticut. Rhode Island might be a little bit of a trip. Actually, probably about the same. And then also, since we're talking about it, we need help. Well, we need more help. I know you've talked a little bit to Heather, right, about the men's group?
No,
Yeah.
I need to talk to Heather.
Okay.
I need to get with
Because
get with Dragon about that.
We recognize the inherent need for a separate women's group, right? That really has to engage on a full female basis. That is important. That is something that I think Cups has been a part of in the past, and it has to exist. But in that vacuum that creates for the men, which there's not a lot of us, and we're hoping to have more.
We need more men.
Then we want to make sure.
I'll say it. We need more men.
We want to have that section too, right? So we want to. Part of that is to explain why it's so important to have a women's group and a red tent and all that stuff. That would be part of, I think, our mission to make sure the men of the group understand why that's a need.
I'm sorry. I'm only imagining what the red is for. Is that
is
correct?
What it's for.
Okay. Yeah.
Hence the first person I need to educate.
We need more men.
Yeah, we do. We can do that. We can set up whenever you think is a good time. As soon as this evening, we can do one. Or sometime this week, too, in the evening, we can do plannings.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of work to do in the next couple of months, a lot of things going. And I am so excited about Cups more than anything, getting that up and running. And then the Order of the Patchwork Pagans. Like, here's a good example. When I want to do the tarot training, I'm going to finish on like just putting the little pieces on a tarot training course. I'm going to do it through Cups, right? So, you need to say something?
No, Heather was just confirming red is for blood. That's
Okay.
what I thought.
I don't know why that makes you laugh or smile, but you can always get me more champagne.
That's probably a good idea. Bye.
It's like a 3-year-old.
I am. I'm chronically positive and silly.
When I do the tarot class, it is going to be a Cups tarot class, right? But I may allow people to participate remotely or even in person if there's room. Cups would have first dibs in that as part of the Order of the Patchwork Pagan, so that those things are kind of associated. That's the kind of thing we're talking about. But anyway, we've gone way too much about that. Let me hit the shadow work. We're working on our last episode of that. Probably we'll have that done this week. And then we've almost got the crafting area set up. However, after more and more thought, we are going to use that because we have so much availability, and we want to do some podcraft. But I think, again, probably under the Order of the Patchwork Pagans, that is associated with Cups, if we do something at Cups, or if we do crafts and things, if people are okay with it, and everybody would have to be, we may stream some of those things as part of the Order of the Patchwork Pagans. So podcraft is almost ready to go. We've almost got our spots together where we can have some room and entertain about 3 or 4 people to do some crafts together, regardless of what it is. And then our cooking schedule, we are not going to have that in time for the 28th for Imbolc, but so we're going to hit for probably an April time frame to do a cooking somewhere in March prior to April, because what we want to do is use Cycle of Seasons to create a meal prior to the actual thing that we do. And then this will be a meal for us. It'll be smaller. It's not going to be for a big thing. It's just, the podcraft part, the cooking part, and then share that. And yeah, so I have an iPad, and my streaming equipment is relatively mobile. So, we may potentially do that, and I think that would be something fun to do. We could stream crafts from the UU. We could stream classes, which we have that already set up through Discord. We just have to have a few things that we can put together, and hopefully we can supply some of that technology. The next thing is news, unless you have something else you need to say about the red tent.
No, I think that's enough on the red tent for now. I love it. Support it.
We have all the windows open because we're trying to be conscious about the air conditioning, but it got a little hotter this morning than we thought.
I know it's not the same, but forgive me, goddess. I was just picturing the people at PETA that throw the red paint on people when you said blood and red tent for wearing furs.
Well,
that's why I was laughing, not at the concept of what it stands for of a red tent.
You're a 2-year-old. It's okay.
And menstruation. It was because I thought the people with PETA with the red paint, and that's all I could picture.
Well, that's okay because we haven't got a name for our tent yet, but we did think about the PPs at the teepee.
PPs at the teepee.
So we're not sure what we're going to do with that one. But anyway, both news articles are yours this time. And I have them teed up. So if you want to start with, one other thing we need to do is between segments. We're going to try to slow a little pause and have a little filler for a minute because we're recognizing people are having questions and comments with the topic and we're missing it because there's a good delay on YouTube. Even with low, whatchamacallit.
Walter's badass with his pyrotechnics.
I would love that. I just know that the technology can be expensive. So if we want to stream from a classroom, I wouldn't expect, the church to really provide us anything that we need.
That would be so cool.
But
that's awesome.
Like I'm saying, we could take our laptop and set it up because the one we're using right now, it's almost a self-contained system. The camera, the Brio, and everything is kind of together. We literally would just take this whole little setup with us, and we could potentially stream, or just using the iPad. Because the iPad has a pretty good camera on it.
Yeah, it really does.
It wouldn't be quite as fun. You wouldn't be able to participate quite as well in a class because when we do, like Joy, the very first class I ever took was a elements class that you did at Cups. And you had food in there that was earth-oriented. You had scents that were earth-oriented. You had soil and things that were earth-related. Obviously, a remote person's not going to be able to participate in that part, but they can still learn.
Absolutely.
So,
it's
or
still fun.
If we have our Order of Patchwork Pagans really up and running and we do a class like that, then there can be a remote teacher in Connecticut or Manny in Washington State doing it for their group on the same day. They'd be present with that kind of stuff and we can coordinate those things.
Yeah.
What now?
No, was moving on to the news topic. If we may. I'm not rushing, but you had brought it up, and I didn't know if we were supposed to transition or are we waiting?
Go ahead.
So the first topic, it is pretty short and sweet, but it's one that really is dear to me, and it's witches also need therapy. So to sum it up...
Not to cut you off, but it's actually witches also go to therapy.
Witches also go to therapy. Oh. Maybe I'm the only one that needs therapy. No.
That's not true.
But really, it's so true. To sum it up, a lot of things can help us. Like we can use our magic, we can cast spells, we can ground, we can center, we can meditate. We can use music to get into a trance state. We can gaze into a candle flame to enter a trance state or meditate. But if there is, if you need help with your mind, and from our Christine Jetty Tarot Shadow Work book, when you know you need to seek out help is when you start thinking that you might need help. When there is a sick mind, and I don't mean it in any other way, magic cannot cure that. You need medicine, you need therapy, and don't be ashamed of it. Use your magic, which I think we have a step up on mundane or mortals or muggles, because we do have our
Muggles.
magic tools and our
Harry
magic
Potter's alive.
things to help us, but use those. But also, witches also go to therapy. Magical people also need therapy. There are chemical imbalances sometimes that you cannot just do a spell for. It's a physical thing, so it needs a physical or medical solution, and that a lot of times comes from medication. It comes
Yeah.
from therapy. You can use exercise and magic and other things to stimulate that deficiency, but ultimately the point was really good, and it's just, witches also, we don't need to think, or magical people don't need to think that we can cure everything with magic. Some things we can't. It's a physical issue. It's a chemical imbalance. And don't be ashamed to get that therapy or get that medical or medication management.
Yeah, and like you see right on the screen, witchcraft is not a substitute. I think that's pretty important because a lot of times, we talk about in the Hail Thyself or Malice experience, which it will be soon. Hail Thyself. We talk about hailing thyself, right? Becoming the person that is the driver of your destiny, and when you do that, it unfortunately, and with witchcraft too, like all included paganism, it gives us kind of this idea that maybe we're supposed to handle it all by ourselves. And that is not what it is saying. It is saying we are driving the car, but you still have to see a mechanic once in a while, physically and mentally. Sometimes the engine control computer, the ECM, breaks up and doesn't work properly or needs tuned. Sometimes things need to be changed, and that's the point. We don't all have the same model, unfortunately, to drive. And I think that's a really, really important piece. So I really appreciate that. And
Hey, Melvin!
Hey, Melvin. And if you guys want to, by the way, see these links and read the entire articles yourself, they're in the Two Pondering Pagans' very first text chat in the Discord. And
I agree, Dragon. Therapy is its own kind of magic.
I like that. I've never thought of it that way.
It really helped me this past year when I was going through something.
I mean, that's a really good way to look at it. I've not thought of it that way.
And I can only speak from ADHD, but when you get that help of, it doesn't have to be a level 2, it doesn't have to be a narcotic, it doesn't have to be a scheduled, but mine wasn't. Just a simple medication to help with the imbalance and the focus. It really helps. Like this year, when I got the medication for ADHD, I hadn't felt this good in like 20 years. And it's really awesome.
That is awesome.
So therapy is its own kind of magic. Absolutely.
I think that is an amazing way to look at it. It really is. So, I've always been a big proponent of therapy and mental health. I think that it's just really, really critical to whatever the word is, to declassify it or make it so that people don't see, oh, I need therapy. I must be broken. Well, yes, who isn't? But that's not what therapy is about. You can feel like everything is completely under control, and therapy will still benefit you. And maybe you don't have the ability to get to therapy. There are alternatives. There's BetterHelp, which is an online service. They do not sponsor us. I'm just throwing it out there because it comes into my head.
Yeah.
There's the 988 National Suicide Line. I actually have used them before in gathering information to assist somebody else. They even helped me figure out how to help somebody out of the country.
Wow.
And they made sure that it wasn't me and I wasn't lying because, I said for a friend. And they're like, sure. So they checked me out too, and they were very clear about it. And it was very nice to have that resource. So if you need it, use it. There's no shame in it. And if you feel shameful, hopefully you can talk about it because, you know what? If shameful is a thing, it could lead to you not being with us anymore. So that would suck. So, really great topic. I really like that. It's a good article. Absolutely. We're going to move to the second article. Let me transition here for you.
And that's really freaking cool. The oldest runestone found near Norway, or discovered near Norway.
In Norway, according to the article.
In Norna. Have another glass. In late 2021, researchers at the University of Oslo found the stone during a burial ground excavation in eastern Norway near the city of Hole. Yes, Hole, Hole. The stone was unearthed in a cremation pit that contained burnt bones and charcoal. The stone was then transferred to the Museum of Cultural History in Oslo, which holds Norway's largest collection of artifacts from the Stone Age to modern times. This is the oldest datable runestone in the world. Named the Svingerud, I'm probably saying that completely
I would assume.
wrong, stone. The stone was created 1800 to 2000 years ago by someone near the Tyrifjorden Lake, located to the west of Oslo. Size is roughly a foot by a foot, reddish brown, ringer-like sandstone, block lettering, and one of the earliest forms of Nordic languages of Scandinavia.
Yeah, it's really hard to see, guys, but if you look on the screen in the bottom left, you can actually see some of the rune scribings down there. It is really hard to see. I can only see it because I have it on a enlarged screen over here, but too cool. That is really neat. I'm glad you found that article.
Oldest runestone in the world has been located. Thank you.
It's funny how it's like it has been located, but I'm like, okay. Like they were looking for the oldest runestone.
Right.
They found it. I'm like, okay, how did they not know there's an older one?
True.
Because there will be. But in sandstone, that is surprising because sandstone does not hold up very well, honestly. Made of sand. But too cool, regardless. I really like that. That's a good one. I don't know. I like kind of the neat stuff like that. That's different that we run into. You know.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm also teaching myself runes. I know how to actually utilize runes as words and letters to make letters of protection and stuff, but I don't know yet all their independent meanings that are separate from the letters they tend to represent. So I'm still kind of working through that. By the way, that would be a really good class. I'm just saying. Nothing. We're trying to build up our class repertoire. I do think, I'm just thinking of it in the back of my head now too, because this is so totally off subject, but we need to make sure, we need to have people submit their information so that we have a catalog of things that will be assistive to who does what. You know what I mean?
Hey, Tabby! Good morning. Yeah.
Good morning, Tabby. How's it going? Oldest so far, yes. So
Yes.
our next topic is, we talked last week a little bit about Imbolc, right? And so this is the next upcoming Sabbath. We are planning to work a ritual at our local Cups chapter for that in Fort Myers, which I think is going to be awesome. But to give you guys a little bit of information on what is Imbolc, where did it come from, what's the history of it, and where do we get all of this information from, and is it all accurate and true? So we wanted to talk a little bit about that. First, I do want to say that dates are important, but they're not the most important thing, because I can tell you, not as a researcher, but just off of being able to locate as much information as possible related to dates, the date that we have is not the date that's currently, based on the calendars and stuff. So if you are somebody that really wants to do this ritual, so generally Imbolc is February 1st and 2nd, like the 1st from sundown to the 2nd on sundown. But you can't do it on that day like us. We're doing our ritual on the 4th. That's okay.
It's okay.
The actual February 1st is probably our March 31st. Or 5th. I don't think is there 31st?
It's the energy you bring forth that matters.
The point is, we're focusing on the energy around us and the atmosphere, right? So Imbolc is generally in February because it is generally between winter and spring, right? So as long as we're reaping, to me, and other people can disagree, and that is okay, you can certainly do that, but we can't do things on the day that they're generally expected. So it makes sense to me to move it because the energy that we're going to feel is the same. We're going to work with energy that represents moving from what is the north, or earth, or winter. Those things are corresponded together, right? As we are halfway between that, Yule, right, in December, and Ostara, which is our spring equinox. So in this time, as we start going into the spring, right, We feel the energy of the earth waking back up, and it wakes back up into the east, the air. And these are the kind of the things that come up. So we have dawn, right? So earth and north are night. East is dawn. The sun rises in the east. So that is associated with dawn, the upcoming of things, the birth of things, the beginning of things. So we're in that halfway point between. And that is what Imbolc is representative of. And that's what our ritual is representative of. The feeling of starting to go into something new. One of my favorite things to do as ritualistic, but it does not involve anything else. We did a ritual like 3 years ago for Imbolc here at the house, and it's literally was a meditation of learning, going outside when it's cool, right? But in the morning sun, and feeling the dawn sun radiation on yourself, and feeling it go through your body, and feeling it go into the earth around you, and that was very representative and very aligning of ourselves, of our, where we are. So that's what any ritual really is about, is aligning with the season, right, in the cycle. But in Imbolc, we're looking at that time frame between winter and spring, night and dawn. So we're in the early dusk hours, right? That is what Imbolc is. Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Imbolc comes from the Scottish Gaelic oimilk. I don't know how to say it properly. Oimelc, which is the ewe's milk. Because this is when would be first feeding or nursing their lambs. So that's kind of the time frame, right? So that makes sense. So I have a couple of things I wanted to share, some really easy ritual ideas, and then an altar idea that I got from learning religions, and learn religions, I should say. LearnReligions.com is a really neat website that has a lot of good information on it. But the caution that I would give you is that nothing should be taken as gospel or perfect or true in these things, because there are some people that may say, oh, Learn Religions is very basic. It doesn't give you the true history behind it, and that may be true. But it gives you somewhere to start, and you can do what works and feels right for you. So I want to get away from feeling that there is an absolute true on all of this stuff, because it can make it very difficult to be somebody who's trying to pay attention to the cycles of the life. So this one you see up in front of you guys is hold an Imbolc candle ritual, and some people say Imbolc without the B, candle ritual for solitaries. So what does that even mean, right? So what is it that you can do to kind of celebrate that? Now, first you see Imbolc is a festival of light, right? Does that make sense? Dawn. What happens at dawn, which really we're getting closer to, Ostara, but dawn is the bringing of the light. It's the dawning of the day. It's the beginning. So it makes sense that Imbolc, metaphorically, is about the light, the festival of light. It can be called Candlemas. And then there is the 7 candles ritual that represents various aspects of the season and human resistance. There's the light that emerges as winter ends. There's a whole bunch of setup for your altar. And I like one of the important phrases that came in this article that I read is the comment of, set up your altar in a way that makes you happy. That's the first step. So you don't have to have this specific thing or these setups that people think, oh, that's not an appropriate Imbolc altar. We'll give you some ideas, but you set it up how it makes you happy. And then, take we like to say a warm cleansing bath. So cleansing before ritual bath, right? So that's something that we tend to do or can do. And you'll need 7 candles, red and white. Tea lights are great. And if you can't find red, fine, use white. If you can't find white, use red, fine. If you have brown, use brown. You'll get the same idea. A large cauldron that can hold all the candles, if you have it, or a bowl, or even a plate if you can't. And then sand to fill the bottom of the cauldron. That's really for safety and for placement. So I'm not going to read the whole thing because the link will be in our 2 Pondering Pagans, but this is a very simple ritual that's written for you that can get you started. It's how I got started, using other people's rituals, and then as we got through them, we started changing to doing our own, making our own way, right? And that's kind of how the process works. You got to start somewhere. So that is a simple ritual that you can do. You can walk through this with the statements. You can write your own poetry about the light being come in as you see the winter going away, the darkness, and you see the chill starting to break into a warmth and radiance, and write it how you feel. That makes you feel good. And then if you want to, again, using something like this, it goes through each of those candles, some meditation, thinking about the time of healing and inspiration, purification, which is what is represented by Imbolc. So again, just wanted to share an idea of what, you know, you might want to look at, or you could if you are having some thoughts on how to do that. Learn religions. I do too, Dragon Dancer. It's really a great resource. I think the real important thing is that for people who are beginning or are newer to it, or anybody really, it's always good to learn and to know new stuff and to have new things in your brain. But don't think just because you read it on anywhere, including New Religions, that because it said it, it is true. Because then you'll be fighting with people and you may not know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Take it as a starting point, and then see how you feel about it and work through it. Any comments to add? I'm talking too much.
No, I think you're talking fine. It's informative. I want to learn more about the Candlemas.
Same thing. Same idea. Lots of lighting candles.
I like candles. And fire. I like candles.
Fire. So now we're going to move into setting up your altar.
Altar.
So this is just, again, some ideas, remembering that you do what makes you happy on your altar. So you can see here they use lots of light colors, light purples.
Ooh, that
and
purple's pretty.
Pinks and yellows, which I agree, I think is very pretty. I like this person's setup. They've got their extra stuff like right underneath to kind of switch out with.
That's really cool.
And if you can't see it, Joy, I can't remember what that's called, or Dragon Dance or anybody. They just told me to. This thing in the top left. But you'll see they have what looks like a rosary, a cross with some candles on it. Red and green representing spring and the beginning light, which would be the red. You got your chalice.
Ooh, sweet, Joy.
And just lots of stuff on there. It's very pretty. There's a feather representing air. So you got your representations of the altar, but it's a very simple way to set it up. Often celebrated the Celtic goddess Bride or Brigid, depending on how you pronounce it, I think.
Breed's Cross?
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, that is awesome.
I knew it had a specific name. Thank you.
Well, they made a bunch. Didn't we have those?
Yeah.
Yeah. For our last thing, we had some Breed's Crosses.
These colors are really pretty. These sapphires and purples, just spring colors, things of bloom that represent nurture. Lots of reds, too, by the way. This Celtic design. Cauldrons, chalices, the corn dolls, the priapic wand, reminiscent of a miniature maypole.
Priapic.
Yep, priapic means of the
Priapism. There's a medical condition called priapism related to spinal trauma.
It's not just related to spinal trauma.
Where you have an unrelieved erection.
It can also be related to having a venomous spider bite or snake bite.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That would be very painful.
Yep.
That's awesome, Tabby. I like that style of altar setup. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's very smart, too. You can pull stuff. Now, the only reason we don't do it is because
The dogs.
Chihuahuas 1 through 4 and Samoyed number 1 would pull everything out of the cubby. Little boogers.
How
But
did
anyway.
Well, you can sure get down when you want to.
Sure can, can't she? Our littlest Chihuahua acts like she can't get up and down off the couch even though there's stairs, but somehow she magically makes it up and down when we're not looking.
Come on, Mother. Come on.
So, yes. Well, think about it. Like, and a lot of people get stuck when I need somebody to tell me what to put on my altar. Put what feels right and what makes you happy. When I want to do an altar, I think of the cycle. We're halfway between winter and spring. Winter to me is whites, silvers, blues, dark colors. Spring is pastels and reds and bright greens and, you know, foliage and growth. So what's between those two? You know, a mix of both, right? So I'd use a mix of both. I would use gold a lot, I think, for dawn colors, yellow for the sun coming out. But I also would want to represent that it's still wintry time. And so I'd want something in there to represent the earths and the, you know, hasn't quite come out of that space of cold winter, of barrenness, of you know, it looks dead, but it's not, because that's what winter really represents. It looks like it's done. It looks like nothing is happening, but in fact, lots of things are happening underneath the surface. So if you think of those things that correspond with the time of the year, you'll be able to make an altar. You'll be able to make a ritual without any difficulty. And then if you do, go on over to learnreligions.com and you will learn pretty much about anyone. And you can, it's not just pagan or Celtic. They've got Norse. They've got the Germanic ones, right? And they've got Buddhism. They've got all different kinds of religious information that would be very helpful to whatever it is you're seeking. So do what makes you happy.
That's
Yep.
right.
Whew, I'm a little dizzy. It is hot in here.
She's so sweet.
It is hot in this house.
So sweet.
So we have just entered a new space of the Zodiac.
Which one? Which one? And is that why it's feeling like everything's so slow all of a sudden?
I do love, yeah, I love that, Joy. Yes, and this is another thing to take spot of. Hold on.
What? Let's go see.
Somebody might have dinged the door. It might have just been something blowing by.
Let's go check it out.
I bet you it's the ferret cage falling over. So, tradition. Just a real quick hit on tradition. It is very important to understand and know, I think, that tradition is very important. It's important in the aspect of it should, I feel, personal opinion here, off rant or start rant, one of the two. It's very important to have tradition and to know and recognize tradition. I like to personally incorporate tradition into the things that I'm doing. Is that for me or you?
No, me.
What is it?
A skull shaver. Keep my sides edged in between.
Uh-huh.
What's the barber?
So it's very, to me, it's important to know and understand tradition. But if you don't and you don't want to, fine. It's really okay. We don't want to make it see that you have to do something like that. But I do find it very beneficial to recognize and represent the tradition and build some new things into it that make you feel good. But again, do what makes you happy. There's no specific reason. I don't want anybody to feel like they have to follow tradition specifically in order to be considered right or wrong. But I also don't want to, poo-poo on the fact that there's a reason things are tradition and they've been repeated. So, keep it going. Keep it going. And then speaking to Heather, that would be a specific seasonal framework for Florida since the normal season. That would be immensely helpful to me. Like, I don't have currently the wherewithal to come up with something like that. I just don't know enough. Would be and forever depthful to somebody taking the time to do that. So that would be super awesome, I think. So, real quick, so we don't get off topic or get off time, I want to run through, currently we have moved into Aquarius just yesterday, today. This is the 11th sign of the Zodiac, running from January 21st to February 19th-ish. Now, yes, there are lots of other Zodiacs. Yes, the constellations aren't in the same place that they were before. We are all recognizing that, but we are using cycles and systems here. So we just came out of the Capricorn Earth, and we're moving into this fixed air, right? So not a huge change, because Earth and air work pretty well together in most cases. But this fixed air is going to give us a period of some stability in our thought and our brain. So this time of year is really good for those things that are thoughtful and progressive and intuitive, and helps us grow kind of those pieces. Well, we're going to have to delay our motorcycle ride.
I know, right? Oh, maybe I shouldn't. Yeah, we'll have to delay it a little bit.
1 hour per drink. Minimum.
Oh, really?
So, yes. So, awesome stuff. Where was I? So, Aquarius does represent the peak of winter. I'm going to give you a couple of correspondences. I will also show you the website that I get this information off of, too, My thought processes, nothing is hidden for me. I'm not making things up in the most case. Oh, that's too small. In the most cases, we just are using the information available to us. There's always going to be somebody that knows more than me, right? And I hope if you do, you share that knowledge instead of just telling me I'm wrong. Share what you know. But Aquarius, again, 11th sign. And in this website, this is Lunaf, LUNAF.com. You can go to it at any time. It's updated very consistently. I do recommend to donate to them. I have donated. This is run by a person, and they keep it updated, and they do not get paid for it. So very cool. But it kind of runs through the current system, the zodiacs and things for you. One of the things I like is they go through like the qualities and things, right? So It's the 11th sign. It tells you where the tropical sector is, what's the constellation, and all that stuff. And it gives you the different processes or different names of all these things. It's pretty cool. Winter peak, fixed air, positive, hot and wet. What do all of these things mean? Now, we did have a previous discussion on what does it mean. Hot, wet, cold, dry. And so that is part of the understanding of the gender. Like, we use gender terms, masculine, feminine, but we don't mean them in like boy-girl terms. They're in polarity terms. It's completely different. It's not about is it more male or more female. It's just about the direction. And that hot, wet, cold, dry can actually help explain that quite a bit. So we will probably need to re-up a discussion on that. But it kind of gives you the idea of the qualities of this and what their focuses are. Now, the gender masculine is in relation to that hot, wet. And I know it sounds funny, but it does have a specific meaning. The things I like on Lunaf is instead of just telling you what the person's horoscope would be who's born in Aquarius, it gives you some characteristics. I hope and I can are the two things that Aquarius likely will say. I hope and I can. They like thinking, technology, eccentricity, future, interesting and fun things, and don't like the ordinary and the routine. Very strong with cleverness and witticisms, but they are weakness in being sometimes unemotional, stubborn, and sarcastic. Maybe I'm an Aquarius. Just kidding.
Hey, Curse, welcome. Good to see you.
Awesome. Thank you for coming. But anyway, so that's the website I use. I use quite a few different things on here, so if you want to check that out, you should. But that's the sun phase. Now we're going to get into the moon. Today, we are currently in new moon that started yesterday.
It did.
It did. New moon is when the entire disk that we can see, which is technically one half of the moon, right? Because the other side, the dark side, is always dark. So we're seeing none of the disk illuminated by the sun because the Earth is in the way. So that tells you a little bit about what you can do. The Earth is in the way. New moon is a good time to start working on getting obstacles out of the way.
Move it out of the way. Move, bitch. Get out the way.
You are drunk.
Get out the way, bitch. Get out the way.
So technically we started yesterday in Capricorn, and then new moon's kind of going through to today's Aquarius. So we might feel a little bit of whiplash and all this. Add in a little extra meditation, some mindful focus to keep yourself together. So we're going to do Sunday and Monday, right? So Sunday and Monday, we are both Sun and Moon Aquarius, which means our air is aligned.
Thank you, Tabby, for stopping in. Have a good week.
Have a good week.
Have a great day.
But make sure that you are really thinking Monday and Tuesday, right? So we're Sunday and Monday. Sunday and Monday. These are thinking days. These are brainstorming days. These are, putting things together in your head and writing them down and getting them on paper days. Because as you go into Tuesday and Wednesday, we go into Pisces. We have to take what we've written down and what we have put on paper and what we have thought about and kind of see what's the effect going to be. How is it going to change things? How am I going to make an effect? And how am I going to make it be beneficial and positive for everybody? Because then Thursday and Friday is when we fire up Aries and actually make the shit happen. Don't go too hard too fast, though, because when you mix air and fire, you might get a fire-nado.
Oh, yeah, that wouldn't be good.
Those exist, by the way.
That's right.
So
unexplained.
keep
Keep those sons of monkeys obstacles away.
Sons of monkeys? I love it.
What did our reading yesterday say? It said, look, you have everything you need to make a decision. Don't let it be an emotionally charged immediate reaction. It's very simple, and it's right in front of you.
Yep.
So it's not a lot of big crazy stuff,
No.
right?
And then Saturday and Sunday are going to be Earth days. This will be the time after this week is going to be crazy. Not going to say it otherwise. It's going to have a lot of craziness. But Taurus energy is what's going to hold us down this weekend, Saturday and Sunday coming up. So garden, work the land. Perfect time for us to do the work.
It is, yeah. That's
because after the week, we're going to need it. So get your feet in the ground. Go barefoot a little bit. Don't step on any bees. Get your hands dirty. And that's what you need to do Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be important.
Sábado y domingo.
It's going to be important.
Sábado y domingo.
I don't know what that means.
Saturday and Sunday.
Aren't you just special?
Mm-hmm. I feel very accomplished.
Mercy me. Our next full moon, February 5th.
Ooh, that's right before I start my new old job.
That is the snow moon.
Awesome.
And then our next new moon after today, today, I should say, is going to be in Pisces, and that will be February 20th. So we'll be cycling out.
It's going to be freaking February around the corner, everybody.
It is
That
going to be
is-
February.
That is just like unbelievable.
Just like library. February, not February or library. Please, for this Virgo. Don't
Thank
say
you,
library
paranormal.
or February.
Muchas gracias. Tú
February.
eres muy bonita. ¿Señora o señorita?
Un café crème. I know how to say coffee with cream in French. And I'm a little girl, but
Je suis un homosexual.
je suis la jeune fille. I am a little girl. I need one more little thing here because we're going to be moving to tarot in just a minute.
Les tarot.
But we are going to talk a few minutes about boundaries before we do.
Boundaries, set 'em.
So I found this really nice article today looking through trying to get a topic for today. And I thought
Señorita.
boundaries, we've talked about them before, but I don't know that we gave any very specific. So on this particular article, which is also linked again still in the Two Pondering Pagans Discord, guys and girls, and everything else in between, above, beyond, and without, within.
Why are you looking at me when you said that?
How to set boundaries. The boundaries we're talking about are your personal boundaries. These are magical boundaries, and we're talking about mundane boundaries. I think mundane boundaries are first. So if you need to set a boundary, set it. It is very hard to do. I am terrible at setting boundaries. I will tell you, I'm very frustrated about what I'm doing this week. Not because it's not my job, but because of what somebody has said and done and created a situation that's not necessary. And I have in my head the entire speech that I'm about to give her, and if I do that, I will get fired.
Yeah.
So I need a boundary because I've allowed her to get inside my head. My boundary is, for me, I will not let you control my emotional reaction. That is mine alone. So that's my mundane boundary. And I am going to do some magic on this Monday when I get in. When I get into Jersey Monday, it'll be later in the day. I'm going to go to the nearest, what do you call it? Publix.
Mosque. Oh, Publix.
No, not a mosque. The nearest, not Publix either. What are they called? Grocery stores. I'm going to go to the nearest grocery store I can find and get some incense and candles because I don't like to travel with that stuff. And I'm going to do some magic to extend my mundane boundary into the magical world. And I'm going to create something today before I leave because this is something I've done before. I like to make these little teeny bottles that have herbs and stones in them, shards, that represent protective bubbles and boundaries and absorbing negative energy. And I'm going to take that with me because they've helped me in the past. And a little bit of lapis lazuli because it's going to be a wild travel week this week with the weather up north.
Yeah, and you could use that psych protection.
Mm-hmm. So the idea is mundane and magical boundaries. So, but we got to do mundane or magical first. Mundane first. So
I almost told my boss to F off yesterday, and that would not have been good.
yeah, the first thing
Might have felt good.
that I wanted to point out from a mundane perspective, if you guys can see this, boundaries are rooted in clear communication. Communicate what it is you want. It is hard because you feel, or at least I do, guilty when I set a boundary.
Yeah.
I feel guilty that I'm telling somebody else no or stop or that's not appropriate because it's not that big a deal. But it adds up. So remember, clear is kind, unclear is unkind. So be clear
True.
in your communication. So when we communicate a boundary, we need to set the boundaries that protect our mental, physical, and emotional well-being because we are the only ones that know where those boundaries are. So number one, you can't expect somebody else to know it if you don't communicate it, right? Some people it's okay. Like for me, I needed to set a boundary with somebody. Somebody shared something with me that I was uncomfortable knowing, and I didn't need to know. But I let it go because I'm like, it's not a big deal. But I still think I was like, wait a minute. That was an inappropriate boundary for me that I should have set. And I didn't communicate it, so it's not her fault. She doesn't know. So what are healthy boundaries? They are limits you place around your time, emotions, body, and mental health to stay resilient, solid, and content with who you are. They're empowering borders. So what do you set boundaries around? Emotional energy. That's a big one for me.
Oh, that's huge. Yeah.
I expend emotional energy for others without anything back, and sometimes I get to the point where I use the bucket theory. My bucket is empty. I have nothing else to give, but I have nothing left for myself either because I emptied my bucket for somebody else. And that manifests itself in some poor ways. It manifested in me being rude and kind of disrespectful to an employee of mine who's amazing. I got real nasty with her and guilted her into doing something.
Good.
And then had to go back and apologize.
Manipulation.
Not good.
I love it.
Not good.
Oh, it's not good.
Time. So I have been much better lately with boundaries of time. If I go to something, it's because I wanted to. And if I didn't, it's because I couldn't. And I don't feel guilty about it because it's as much as I can do. I try to do as much as I can, but there's some limits. Personal space. I'm very good at this one. I boundary my personal space, especially when I'm out and around. I will be like, look, okay, you did not need to be that close to me. Right. Sexuality. Boundaries around sexuality are, especially at the workplace, is if somebody is being sexual with you. I know our policies at work are say it first. You have to communicate. Is it your responsibility to? No. You can report it, and that's appropriate if it's, it's appropriate. But you can also set a boundary and say, look, that was inappropriate. Don't talk to me that way again.
Right.
It's inappropriate. Morals and ethics. Material possessions and finances. None ya biz. Social media boundaries. When you're like, I always find it interesting when somebody posts something and they get a lot of negative reactions to it and then they delete those reactions. I feel like you're washing it out. I'm like, no, I'm boundarying. This is my content. I don't need your nastiness on my content. If I believe, example, unpopular opinion, I believe truly in white privilege and that it exists. Can't tell you how much hate I get about that. If you give me hate about it, I'm just going to delete it. Doesn't mean I don't like you. Doesn't mean I won't still hang out with you or be friends with you. I just don't want it on my stuff. It's my emotional boundary. It's my social media boundary. Set them with anybody you want. I like how they bulleted this out. Family, friends, romantic relationships, coworkers, and strangers. Anybody you need to set a boundary with, you set it. You have to practice, though. One good way to practice, get with somebody that you are comfortable with, a really close friend, family member, and you really enjoy them, and talk to them and say, hey, I'm not good at setting boundaries and I want to practice. I need you to tell me something that you know I'm not going to like, and I need to be able to tell you no and see how that feels. It's funny because you will feel the emotion of it. If I look at Rook and I say, tell me something that is rude and disrespectful, as if you're an employee or if you work with me and I need to react to it so I can see how I react, I feel the emotion with it. Like it comes with it. So do that.
That's good to practice. That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah. Healthy boundaries lead to healthy mindset. So once you have those mindsets, you stop feeling the guilt about it because you're setting the boundaries. This helps you not, especially good with people with ADHD, because that's part of the problem is we're not setting boundaries for ourselves. We get lost in the work. So boundaries can be set with yourself too. I think probably the most beneficial thing is when you set a boundary and the boundary is overstepped. If it's yourself, don't be angry with yourself. Readjust and correct it. If it's with somebody else, tell them, warn them. You guys have seen me. Some of you have seen me on the Malice experience, and I think most people have realized where I have learned to set my boundary, because nobody knows necessarily what they are, and I'm not great at communicating it always. But every once in a while, somebody will cross it, not knowing, and I'll say, okay, I'm not talking about that. That is not fair. I'm not comfortable. I'm not talking about that anymore. That is me setting the boundary, and then if you notice, after that, almost immediately, I can return back to normalcy because I've created that boundary. So anyway, enough about that. I wanted to share that topic of boundaries because I think a lot of us are really, really bad at setting boundaries, myself included. But really practice it. Practice it with somebody you trust, or tell somebody you want to practice it, and they can work with it with setting boundaries. One of the biggest things for me, hey guys, we're going out to dinner tonight. You want to come? I feel almost immediately obligated to go. Almost immediately. And I would say, yeah, no. Oh gosh. There's wind blowing everything around.
Go check it out.
And I have a problem saying no to that when I don't feel like it sometimes. Definitely a lot better now. So that is just something, like I said, I wanted to share with you guys, because I think a lot of us do have difficulty with boundaries, and hopefully you guys will take some practice and work on having boundaries and setting them with yourself. Again, the article is in the Two Pondering Pagans Discord under the service at the top. So if you want to look it up and read it, take it out and have a bit with it.
Okay, what is
Everybody's excited.
What's wrong, baby?
We're going to leave a few minutes open here if anybody has any comments, questions, or discussion things they want to bring up while we get our tarot cards out and get ready to do tarot. Also, at this moment, if you want a tarot reading, please state that you want a tarot reading and what your question is, or general if you don't have a question. And I'm going to just check and make sure nothing from me was delivered.
I can't wait to try my skull shaver. It's for in between going to the barber.
We have an outdoor playpen for the ferrets, and it just set off the ring. That's what that was. That is Holy Land.
That's wonderful.
I'm gonna burn a little bit of one of my favorite sweet scents because I don't like sweet. I like musky and dirty scents.
Yeah.
Earthy scents, definitely. So this is gonna be Moroccan Rose next. God, I wish somebody was here to smell it with us.
Moroccan Rose.
All right. So does anybody want a reading?
Or we can do one for the week.
We did that yesterday.
We did do that yesterday, didn't we? Oh, that's right. That was fun.
So guys, it looks like it's 11:30. So we will not be riding our motorcycles till around 4.
Yeah. Paranormal witch, will I get a new job? Write it down. Paranormal witch, will I get a new job? Okay, let's see. Dragon dancer. Good morning, Ziggy. Queen Ziggy is never late. She always arrives precisely when she should. Paranormal, dragon, and little tree sap, and Ziggy. All right.
I'm going to put Ziggy in there. Ziggy, if you are just joining us, while it is true, everybody arrives, especially exactly when they're supposed to.
Oh my gosh.
Just super good
look,
content this week. I really enjoyed this one.
We've been watching B-movie, slashers, horror movies.
Yes. Oh, Wednesdays,
With
right?
Ziggy on Wednesdays. It's a freaking blast. It's been my therapy for the past 2 weeks.
And guys, it just makes more sense to do it over in Ziggy's Discord. So Ziggy, if you want to pop in a Discord link, you can. If you're comfortable doing so, because I would love to see some more people. And those, Lamageddon. We watched Carousel, though, by ourselves because we wanted to catch up.
Lamageddon was great. The guy that kept changing shirts. I mean, come on.
Manny and Joy.
Movie night. What a good, like, a fun fellowship, fun get-together time that is. And believe me, we pop our popcorn, shoot. We go all out.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's up to you. I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to do an invite. I can put it in if you want. I just didn't know if you wanted to do so. If you don't mind me doing it, I will. Because
will Paranormal Witch get a new job?
Carousel was freaking hilarious. I did fall asleep before the very end, but it was good. I love they're all freaking funny.
Is that the one with the hot tub, or was that a different one?
That was Lamageddon.
That was Lamageddon.
That was terrible. Terrible.
Carousel.
But if you guys want to watch the stupidest, awesomest scary movies, like Mystery Science Theater, and judge them with us, you should.
I want to watch Sharks in the Corns.
Sharks of the Corn?
Yeah.
Sharks of the Corn.
Carousel. I like that one, actually.
I liked Lamageddon. I like them all. Like, it's a little embarrassing.
That was Lamageddon. And they're making a Lamageddon 2. I think they're making a Carousel 2, or there is a part 2.
Carousel 2. Oh dear. Oh, forgot to mention. Let's put up our
Paranormal Witch
little thing here on the corner. I'll be using the Spacious Tarot this week. So this was a Kickstarter I got a couple of years ago. Very cool, relatively minimalistic tarot. I absolutely love it. I don't know why I haven't used it before, but we're going to be using that. But guys, if you have not seen Lamageddon, watch it. And if you want to be stupid like that with us, Wednesday nights, I think we've been doing like 7-ish.
Yeah. So between 7 and 7:30,
Now,
right?
I am traveling this week, so Wednesday night I will be in New Jersey, so I should be okay to watch on time. But just to throw that out there, if you guys want to do that, it is so much fun. Please do.
Then I will be using one of my favorites, Morgan Greer. So, sorry for the batter. That's all I have remaining of the box because I've used it and carried around so much.
Are you sure it's that, or was it because nobody got a hold of that one?
No, I just think it's from carrying around. I carried around with me for work for like 4 months.
Is that smart? Oh,
while connecting to
really
the deck.
good advice there. You get a new tarot deck, or you're learning tarot and you have a deck, carry it around with you for a while. There's a thing that some people do, 78 days of tarot, because there's 78 cards. Put your tarot in order, and starting with your major arcana, go through one card a day and see how it makes you feel.
Ooh,
And you'll
Trailer
see the
Park.
cycle.
Trailer Park Shark sounds great.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, let's see, Miss Paranormal. Paranormal Witch, get a new job. Do you want a new job? Well, obviously, or you wouldn't ask, right?
Hello, hello, baby, you called, I can't hear a thing. I am sick and tired of this phone
Ooh,
ring.
I can't wait to see your blog this week, Paranormal.
Yes. We've got to figure a better process out for that. Paranormal. You're in our Discord, right? If I create a text channel for your weekly, would you be willing to put it in there? Because if you did that, then it'd be really easy for us to review it on our show. Make that a little segment. Because I can create a channel for you. I would like, that's awesome. We keep talking about doing that. We just never do because I forget to pull up Instagram. I forget. I'm sorry. All right, Paranormal. Let's see about a new job. Rook, what do you got?
All right, I have Knight of Rods. All
Ooh,
right,
that's
ma'am.
good.
So yes, but it's going to be a new idea. It's going to be something new that you really haven't done before maybe, or not done much of, but that you're interested in. Work that you're interested in doing. You need to take action and apply for those jobs for something new, something maybe that you haven't really done before, but have wanted to do. So yes, you need to move forward with taking action to secure a job that you haven't done before. It's something new, darling. Knight of Rods.
All right, we got 4 Pentacles. You can set that over there, please.
4 of Pentacles.
So this is, again, the Spacious Tarot. It's kind of, I would say, I don't want to say limited, but it's very, what do I want to say? Not minimalistic, but close to it. So 4 of Pentacles, we're in the Pentacles, we're in my Earth home, right? Are all about finances. And 4 of Pentacles is representative of a structured, close, managed finances. So this is telling me that whatever you're doing, it doesn't tell me if you're getting a new job or not, but what it does tell me is that you're going to be financially secure, whether that's in your current job or not. When we couple that with Rook's card, it sounds like you're going to move on to something that's going to give you a little bit more peace of mind, a little bit more structure, a little bit more
Foundation, stability.
Foundational and stable finances, yes. And so 4 of Pentacles is often relative to having your 4 corners of your house safe. So if your 4 corners of your house are safe, your finances also have to be safe to meet that need, right?
Sweet.
So it sounds like you're on a good path.
Sounds-
At least you're going to be secure. You're not. 4 of Pentacles does not mean you're going to have enough of all the money you need, and it's not saying that you're going to have extra, but it's saying you're going to have enough to maintain the needs that you have.
All right. Hope that was helpful. And Miss Dragon for general.
General Dragons.
What does, although dragons are never general, what does a dragon need to know for the week? I just love how the resin like fills up the whole house
For days.
for days. Like I'll be able to smell it tomorrow when I get home from work.
Oh, that one smells good. This benzoin, Sumatran.
I love benzoin and I love copal.
Nothing is better than Styrax. Why haven't I been burning any Styrax? I'm not going through all that. Do you like Styrax?
I do.
Do you remember what it smells like?
It's very sweet, correct?
It's pretty sweet.
What is
Definitely got a
dragon?
sweet tone to it. Ooh, the cursed chair. That sounds freaking awesome.
Yeah, we watched a show about that. I'm very interested in that. I don't know if it was the one from England, but I'll be very interested to read about the cursed chair. What is dragon?
Styrax. So Styrax is a type of benzoin, by the way, if you're
What
interested.
does dragon need to know for the week?
And it works with any other incense blend. Okay, this is weird. Didn't want to open. So we're going to burn some of this next, because it is my favorite.
Ooh, dragon pine incense. I bet that was freaking amazing. Burn, burn, fire, fire. I bet that smelled good.
Yeah, we need to do more of that. We haven't made a lot of
I will let
stuff
you
lately.
go first this time.
Okay. All right, Dragon. I need to do a few more shuffles then, because I was playing around there. We're doing a general for the Dragon Dancer.
Le tarot général, magnifique, message.
I have found that one of my favorite things to make has been bath salts. Not balls. I don't like the ball. I like the salts.
I like balls. Oh.
I like the salts that you can just kind of scoop in as much as you want, right? Four of Wands.
Ooh, Mary Magdalene. So, oh, interesting. Seeing the cards. Okay.
Another 4.
Yep.
So we're on a 4 kick. 4 is a good number for you right now, Dragon Dancer. So again, I'm going to start with the numerological part of 4s, and 4s are structure. Now, with the 4, is it wands? Is that what they called it?
They called it wands.
Say it again.
Wands.
You're getting good.
I don't like that word. I
Usually you
rather
can't
call
say
it. Rather call it a staff.
Staves.
Staves.
So, 4 of Wands does tend to represent money or finances. Also, well, in the form of career, not necessarily finances. It's career-oriented, work-oriented. Doesn't even necessarily mean to be something you have to be paid for. Volunteerism would be represented by the 4 of Wands. But I already know that because that's something that we've talked about that you're doing. But this is also talking about structuring your creative side, and that's what I'm kind of getting for it right now. You're putting a structure to the things that you're doing because maybe at some point in the recent past, you kind of felt like you maybe are doing too much. We talked about this last week, actually, now that I'm saying it. It feels familiar. You know, you're doing too much or maybe taking on too many things, but you're starting to get a routine to it. You're starting to get a organization to it that's allowing you to continue doing it and feel good about what you're doing. So this is saying to keep doing that, keep it organized, keep it together, keep it structured, but keep creating because it's making you feel good. It's making you feel like you're actually having an impact at whatever it is you're doing specifically. So keep that structure about things, but allow the creativity to keep going. And if you feel like you're taking on too much, set a boundary, number 1. Number 2, see if you can fit it into your organizational chart and then kind of move it around a little bit.
All right. And I drew 4 of swords. So, you got a little bit going on, but you might need to sit and percolate on it, think about it, rest. It's not a major decision-making week.
It's time for the percolator.
Take some time.
It's time for the percolator.
To process and rest and think. Nothing is urgent. There's no major decisions that need to make this week. You know, just think about it. Sit outside. It's not major events. So take your time with any decisions this week.
Yeah, and that getting 4s twice in a row normally says, you know, well, getting a 4 to me in general means structure. But now we've got 2 4s in a row, 3 for me, if you include my first one.
True.
We're having potentially a lack of structure. So it's really bringing our attention to, okay, guys, everybody in the readings today, if 4 keeps coming up, we've got to start paying attention to that structure and making sure that we're keeping it together, not letting one leg fall out. Because If you have a house and you lose one of the walls, it doesn't function as a house anymore. You've lost literally all of the protection. That one small piece affects the whole. And that's why it's important in the fours numerologically to kind of keep your eye on the structure and make sure that it's there. You got a swords, which is air, and we got a wand, which is our fire. So air and fire can go together well, but they also can spin each other out very hard.
True.
So that also means that, you know what, maybe you need to shore up some of the structure a little bit to make it right.
Could it mean make sure you're balanced, you know, with rest or with fresh air or taking a break or whatever you need to make sure you're balanced.
Astrologically, this week's 3 pieces as we go through the week, beginning, middle, end, is think, feel, rest, do and rest. That's the order this week. Sunday, Monday, think. Tuesday, Wednesday, feel. Thursday, Friday, do. Saturday, Sunday, rest. So kind of keep that in mind because those are the 4 aspects that we're running through.
I was doing illustrations for you.
I'm aware. I can see the recording in front of us.
I didn't know you could see me.
It's right in front of us. Okay. Hopefully that helps, Dragon. We are going to go to Little Tree Sap, and I'm going to
Little Tree Sap. She needs to know what a general.
I am feeling pinion.
Some pinion.
So pinyon pine is a Midwest to Western pine tree. It is a beautiful scent that will not come off.
Ooh. You need a second thing?
No, I just can't see with the smoke. It'll come off in a minute. There it goes. So we'll cleanse with some Midwest cleansing, y'all. Sorry, that was weird. Well, that makes sense for Little Tree Sap, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. All right, what does she need to know, man?
Smells good.
It does smell really good.
Smells like summer, and we're not there yet.
Lipine is nice. Oh, that probably came out wrong.
Pinion?
The pine. Pinion. Yeah. Not peen.
Oh, Little Tree Sap, just ignore him.
We're cleansed with peen.
One of my bucket list things to do, which isn't really a bucket list, it's just something I really want to do soon. I want to see a redwood tree in a forest.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Never seen it. I need to see it. As we're talking about Midwest towards the west. By the way, can I just point out, this is being recorded, I probably shouldn't even share this, but I'm going to anyway. There is a small, maybe big, chance that I might be traveling all across the United States soon for work.
Oh, that's exciting.
That includes Austin.
Ooh, I'm jealous.
And
you're going to, that's my home state.
And Washington State.
That's where my mama is.
Just saying.
Texas.
Potential. That's my mama.
That's my mama in Texas.
That's my mama.
That's my mama in Texas.
Foaming at the mouth. You remember that?
I almost punched her.
She was spitting.
I almost punched that lady.
No,
she stuck a brief with urine in my face. I almost did. I really probably should have, but I would have been in trouble. Caught
Yeah, we have a building in Austin, so.
Whoop whoop.
Hercules.
I'm jealous. I'm trying to go to Texas sometime between March and May.
We need to go anyway to Dallas to see your mom.
We do need to go back to Texas to see my mama.
My mama.
And we can meet up with Paranormal and go to the Labyrinth and have lunch.
Ziggy, your state is on the list too, just for the record.
Yes. All right, Little Tree Sap. What you need to know. Washington, me either. I can't wait to go to Washington either, Mr. Mystic Manny. Ooh.
Go ahead.
All right, so something new's coming up. New kind of relationship or friendship. in the near future, the next couple of weeks, couple months. Embrace it. Could be professional, could be a friend, could be an occult person, but just be on the lookout. And the cards are telling you to that you should give time to it, give attention to it, and see where it goes. It should be fulfilling for you.
Yeah, and I'm going to break that nice pathway here with the Ten of Swords. So you'll recognize the Ten of Swords is what many people call one of the most difficult cards in the tarot.
What's the juxtaposition?
There is something that you want to do that you can't do. Not because you can't do it. It's something is preventing it from happening, and you're going to have to abandon it. I don't know what that is.
Yes, Ziggy.
But it means you're going to have to abandon something that you really love or really want to do in order to move forward. And the Ten of Swords represented to me the unfulfilled promise or the unfulfilled ability. Like, I'm really trying hard to get there to stop something, but I didn't make it. And you have to become okay with that. You have to learn to be okay with you're not always going to make it exactly the way you want. And that is the message in this card is something that you really, really want to do is not going to happen. And it can't happen. And it's okay. It is a positive card if you look at it from, I recognize what that is and I'm going to let it go and move on to something else because
could lead to this.
You maybe come back to it sometime later, or you maybe grow from it into something that's even better. So Ten of Swords is definitely a card of letting go and abandoning a project that you're just unfortunate, something that you really like I'm not getting, I'm going to keep trying, it's not going to work. So recognize that, let it go, move on to something else, and you'll benefit from that in the future. Okay.
But it could lead to this when you abandon that. Something new, something better. All right, we need more cleansing stuff.
Okay.
Do you love me? You love having me with you, don't you? On your show.
It's not my show. It's two pondering pagans.
We should all meet up in Salem. That would be badass.
Oh my god, we've talked about that a few times.
That would
love.
be. We need to plan it, and we need to get that in the works for
I will commit as soon as things change for me and get kind of organized. We'll start putting out some tentative week dates and see which one works for most people, and we're gonna set that shit up. It's time.
We're gonna set that Salem shit up.
Set up that Salem shit.
All right, who are we on? Ziggy. She wants a general.
Ziggy, Ziggy, Ziggy. Can't you see? Sometimes
she's the queen, and nobody else could be.
All right, Ziggy General. Let's see what we got.
What does Ziggy need to know?
What does Ziggy need to know?
And then does Manny want a general, or does he have a question? Un question? S'il vous plaît? Or
it's
general?
Not Spanish.
S'il vous plaît. No, it's not Spanish.
Trying to make people think you're trilingual?
I'll try anything once. Not anymore, though. I'm older and more mature now. Who is this for, Manny? Yes.
How's it?
No, this is for Ziggy.
This is for Ziggy.
Okay. Ziggy.
It's okay. Ziggy, your first card is Two of Wands. Love me some Two of Wands because it represents the energy of two things coming together creatively to come up with something that's better than the sum of the parts. Two of Wands is always a 1 + 1 = 3 kind of thing. So obviously, I don't know why I say obviously so much because it's not obvious stuff. In my perspective, wands represent a lot of people really focus on the creativity part and the career part, but for me, it's the addition. It's the exponential growth of a thing, right? So with the Two of Wands, there's an exponential growth of something that's happening with you, and whatever your expectation is of that, you're thinking about it right now, and it's going to be better than what your expectation is. There's going to be a little bit of difficulty or trouble first. You're going to feel like it's wavering a little bit, but if you stick with it, it's going to come through because both of these wands are yours to control. So you're calling the shots on it. So I think that is a really good omen for whatever it is that you're still working on. especially in the next couple of weeks. Keep working on it. Keep bringing it forth. It's going to take a while to actually become fruitful, but it is still something that's going to be worth more than whatever energy you put in it.
Yes, and you're carrying, I drew the Seven of Swords, you're carrying so many thoughts in your heads, but you're overlooking something. Something that's not obvious or something that you're pushing off that really you should consider. So if it's an idea, you know, it may not be the obvious or it may not be what you think you should do or what you want to focus on, but don't neglect the thing that's you're aware of, but that you kind of pushed off. There's some importance to the idea that you've pushed off. Whatever that means.
So maybe we need to bring that back a little bit in order to get this 1 + 1 = 3 energy going back on. Mystic Manny is next. General.
Yeah.
Spacious Terror is pretty.
It is very pretty.
It's very spacious.
Not as vibrant as the Morgan Greer, but it's pretty. Just kidding. It is pretty. It's a nice stat. All right.
All right, Manny, your general is saying 8 of Wands, right? So we're in the arena of what your career is working. The 8 of Wands is a pause card. So when you are working on a new job, a new department, or something new in the area of Wands and career, there's going to be some hiccups. It is going to work out just fine. Because the 8 really wants you to just hold steady. So if there's something that's brought up, like, okay, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, like, no. I just need to hold steady, keep doing it the way I'm doing it, and then things will work out. So the 8 is really about that step in, or that part of the process where we look back at what we've created or what we're doing in our career and saying, is everything right where I want it to be, or do I need to make a couple of changes? It's not about doing the action, though. It's just about the thought back, the look back time. So it's, I know, right? You are going into a new location, right? And that's going to happen. I think the 8 of Wands represents that part of the career change for you, but it's really just holding steady for a while without trying to make any huge improvements first or making anything big, or calling them out because they do something differently, or maybe you did something that worked better, but they do it and it doesn't, you don't like it. I would hold on those things, gather them up for yourself, and then come back with them if needed.
All right, and for Morgan Greer, we give out Temperance. So you've been doing a good job at managing things, keeping everything balanced, actively. Just keep it up. And don't forget yourself out of the equation. With whatever's going on, whatever plans you have, you've done a good job so far. Keep it up, but keep yourself and a balance for yourself in the mix. There's so much logistics. I see logistics, and it's just kind of like, you're on autopilot, doing this, doing that, like he is in there. But just keep the balance going, but just keep keep yourself in the mix, in the forefront, as important or
put yourself
fun,
first,
or whatever that means. Put yourself first. It's time to keep the balance up, but put yourself first. That's what she's telling me, Mystic Manny.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that the 8 of Wands is really, to me, always a pause and reflection card on things that are going on, and it's not a movement card because we're nearing the end of that cycle, right? The third quarter of the trifecta, I should say, of tarot, 1s through 10s, and it's a pause, it's a stop, it's a let's see if what we did is where we want it, because this is our last chance to adjust before we commit to the final product. Hope that helps and gives you some insight. We're going to go now to our last but never least, Miss Joy, who wants to know
what's in the wind. What's in the wind?
What's in the wind?
Ooh.
I will tell you today, lots is in the wind.
Lots is in the wind. It took your car cover off.
It did. It took my car cover off and went down the street.
You're welcome. What's in the wind for La Joy Purcell? La Joy.
La Joy.
I'm gonna start calling Joy La Joy.
You're weird.
I think that's a nice nickname for her.
All right.
What's in the wind?
All we are is dust in the wind.
All we are is dust in the wind.
Really?
Want to hear that song?
No.
I'm gonna put it on loop and repeat.
I will turn the power off to the house. And you don't know how to turn it back on, so.
Oh yeah, it is the noise. Yep, it's going through somehow. I don't know what it's going through, but it's like, whoo, whoo. It is definitely the wind.
We have all of our windows open today. It's really nice, actually, now that I've gotten kind of used to it.
The humidity is good for the chameleon.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Oh, that's a good one.
Favorite card in the entire tarot is Ten of Cups. This is a representative of full fulfillment. You are on your game. You are exactly where you need to be. Everything is exactly in place. Things are aligned. Family is aligned. Family is doing amazing. Things are really positively progressing and really just going in a way that makes sense. The Ten of Cups is the happy family card. It really represents that fulfillment of emotions and things that you get from being with family. And I think this is not only family that you're having with Munchkin, but family that you're having at Cups and at UU. I know at one point you had pulled back and you were working on, kind of moving to your next piece, and man, did it change. And this is literally the card that says the path is the path, and you are at the right place, the right time, and this is where all of the energies come together. And if you see, the 10 cups are all different, but they're all pouring in this diversity into one centerpiece. That is exactly what the 10 of Cups represents. Everything has come together, and the mural that you get is absolutely beautiful. So the wind is saying 10 of Cups is exactly where you need to be. This is a fulfillment of a need for both you and for the community.
Awesome. And somebody new or inexperienced or younger is going to bring it to you. So you're going to find joy or enlightenment from... It could be a beginner. It could be just somebody new to you. Probably a male, but doesn't have to be. So just know that someone new to you, new to practice, it could be somebody new to Druidry, is going to help be a part of that happiness and emotional, from an emotional standpoint.
Almost like there might be a new student coming to the circle at some point.
That would be freaking awesome. Yeah. Hope that made sense. That's what they say.
So extreme, Ziggy, that's the least I can do.
Carry on my wayward son. Yes, that is a better one. Agreed, dragon.
So, that's the reads for today. I
There were some good
appreciate it.
reads.
There's some good reads, yeah.
Reads are always good, but these are some pretty cool ones.
I am going to put some cedar on here to close this out. We have just been having my job has been so amazingly out of control.
It really has.
Like really stressful, but everything else is falling into perfect place, which leads me to believe that this other piece is going to fall in place by itself.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. It's good times. And that is the show for today.
Thank you for all spending some time with us on your Sunday morning. Some of you at 6:30 popping in. I think
Thank
Paranormal
you.
and Noella.
Yes, thank you for popping in this morning.
And saying hi.
But we made it through a whole stream without any significant issues, so
That's
hopefully our
wonderful.
corrections or fixes have worked.
The energy or air is cleared, or if we piss somebody off, maybe they've forgiven us.
Perhaps.
I don't know. But thank you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday and a wonderful week.
Yep.
Shall we close the circle before we do my favorite part?
From the north, Witishins to the east, undoing the circle that is cast. May it be open, but never unbroken.
But never unbroken. So mote it be it so, and so it is. And as we wish it.
All right.
All right, so I want to go to my favorite part, and that is some shout outs. And it's not coming up for me. I don't know why.
Because it takes time and there's a little bit of a delay, so you have to turn your volume off and leave it on live until it catches up on the live stream.
Leave it on live, leave it on.
And then when it comes up, you pause it, you can move it like that so you can actually read it.
All right, please check out all of these awesome creators, witches and wonderfuls, from the Cauldron Witch on Instagram and from the Cauldron Witch Tarot on Instagram. She usually goes live on Sundays, probably about an hour from now. Check her out. She gives some amazing freaking readings. Paranormal Witch on YouTube and Lady Rose 819 on Instagram. She's working on her latest blog she does every week. They're very interesting and engaging. Unexplained Possibilities on YouTube and Unexplained Possibilities on Instagram. You all know, as we all do, and love Melvin. Check out his channel for awesome interviews on everything unexplained, occult, and everything else. Ziggy Dreadful on Twitch. You gotta try to check out one of her game streams as well as movie nights on Wednesday. I hope that was okay to invite people, Ziggy. If not, you can lambaste me in private. Mayville on Twitch for games. Adius Dade on Twitch and Instagram. Mr. Malice on YouTube and Adius Dade on Facebook and Twitter. Along with the guy to my right, your left, does a Friday night podcast, The Malice Experience. And we are Two Pondering Pagans on YouTube and Facebook, Two Pondering Pagans on Twitter. I'm Rook Tempest on YouTube and Rook_Tempest on Instagram. This is Mystic Salann on Twitch and Salann Talwin on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for spending time with us. I hope you have a truly awesome, kick-ass week and manifest your dreams, even if that's just rest.
Yep, and we may see you in the short after show in the Two Pondering Pagans Discord. Link is just provided if you want to. We'll talk a little bit about some stuff, and then we are going to head off. So thank you again for stopping by. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you next week, most likely.
Yeah.